Hello, it's been a while. You're probably wondering where I've gone. I've made an announcement on the community notes in the main channel, and I'm not made an announcement on this channel yet, but my wife was pregnant. The baby came a month early. We were not prepared because we thought we had a whole other month, so that's why I've not been uploading on the second channel. And because it was a C-section and I need to be at home because my wife's literally not allowed to move. I've been at home. I've been going into the studio and still doing main channel videos, but I haven't had time to do second channel videos. But I have time to do them in the house, so you're going to need to put up with awful video and audio quality until my wife is healed enough so that I can actually go back into the studio and record them properly, because there's a bunch of stuff that's happened that I really, really want to cover. So hey ho, we're back to old school, me doing it in my old office and stuff like that. And what better thing to start off with than grooming gangs again? Grooming gangs and ethnicity. What does the evidence say? And obviously 7 days ago and stuff like that, but you know, I've been busy, so I'm still going to cover a bunch of stuff that happened during my time off that I really wanted to cover. The Prime Minister says victims of grooming gangs have been ignored because of political correctness, and that so far has been essentially for a fact established. The police even outright came out and said, yeah, we didn't want to do it because we were worried about being called racist. Oh no, our image, never mind the poor children. What about my image? In plans announced on Monday, the government pledged more data on the makeup of grooming gangs, including ethnicity, to help ensure suspects cannot hide behind cultural sensitivities as a way to evade justice. What are you talking about? It's in our culture. We're allowed to do that. It comes as Home Secretary Suella Braverman made several comments about the ethnicity of abusers in high-profile gangs. In the Mail on Sunday, she says the perpetrators are groups of men, almost all British Pakistani. Now that's Braverman's words, not mine. To the BBC, she said the gangs are overwhelmingly made up of British Pakistani males. The remarks were described as a dog whistle by the Labour Mayor of West Yorkshire, Tracy Brabin, and Miss Braverman was separately accused of pushing discredited stereotypes, except when it came to studies, especially the infamous one done by Quillette that got Tommy Robinson banned off Twitter just for posting it. It turned out, and a lot of people don't understand the phrase per capita. Oh well, most of the ones that are arrested in the UK are white. Yeah, okay. Go learn what per capita is and then get back to me. Right, and it's like a dog whistle. And I'm sorry, if something is like factual information that's definitely within the public interest, I think it should be out there. And to try and just go, that's a dog whistle. Look, I'm sorry. Don't try and shout down facts. It looks bad. Your facts are racist. The Home Office clarified that she was talking about 3 of the most notorious grooming gang cases from Rochdale, Rotherham and Telford, which were allowed to continue for a great number of years because the police were worried about being called racists. So what does the evidence say about the ethnicity of members of grooming gangs who sexually exploit children? In her independent review of the Rotherham case published in 2014, Professor Alexis Jay concluded that the majority of known perpetrators were of Pakistani heritage, including 5 men convicted in 2010. Greater Manchester Police identified the men convicted at the trial in the Rochdale abuse scandal in February 2012 as British Pakistani. The Telford abusers were men of Southern Asian heritage, according to an independent inquiry carried out into the case. These reviews also mention concerns among police and social service teams that if they pursued groups of non-white offenders, they might be accused of racism, and that was something the police did just come out and say. The police just came out and said that, yeah, we were worried about being called racist. And it's like, well, to hell with the kid, fuck them kids. What about my image? The string of cases, including the 3 quoted by Miss Braverman, involving non-white offenders has received widespread attention, especially from campaigners on social media. The 2010 convictions of a group of white men and a woman for abusing 30 children in the Camborne area of Cornwall has received less attention. Yeah, well, because that one got shut down the moment it got found. As soon as the police found it, they went, oh, hell no, and went in and shut it down right away. They basically, the reason that one didn't get a lot of media attention is because the police did their job on that one. With the other ones, the police knew it was happening, they had evidence it was happening, and they didn't do anything about it. And I think, how long was Rotherham? Rotherham was well over 10 years, I'm sure. Don't quote me on that. But I believe Rotherham was well over 10 years. That's why those ones got more media attention, because of how shocking that fact was, and, quite rightly so. What experts call the boyfriend or lover boy model of child abuse is now well understood. Vulnerable children are befriended, groomed into believing a man loves and cares for them, and then is slowly trapped in a cycle of abuse and threats. But the suggestion that the ethnic background of the perpetrators plays an important part in abuse by gangs is hard to support, at least based on the current evidence. No, it's not actually. No, it's something... try to think of a good way to phrase it. Basically, it is considered among people in those communities that white women are whores, putting it bluntly. They walk around scantily dressed and blah, 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 therefore they deserve to be treated like that. They are inferior and subhuman to our proud and covered up Muslim women. That's literally, and that's not me saying that. That is Muslim men that are saying that. That's the way that they perceive them as. It's like, oh, if they want to act like that, then that's how they will be treated. That is their words. That's their words, not mine. Right? That's the general consensus among people like that. They have literally said so themselves. Right? That's not us like making it up because they're racist, right wing and everything. That's them. They said that. And you know the phrase, when people tell you who they are? The Home Office commissioned a study of the available data in 2020. It said, oh yeah, I remember that. That was the one that they tried to suppress a little bit. The academic literature highlights significant limitations to what can be said about links between ethnicity and this form of offending. Research has found that group-based child sexual exploitation offenders are most commonly white. However, that's the part where they removed per capita. Per capita is very important. Some studies suggest an overrepresentation of black and Asian offenders relative to the demographic of national populations. Yes, that's correct. That's the per capita part. Basically, there's a certain group of people who tend to do it more. That's just what some people are pointing out. And it's because of that whole ethos and opinion that I just discussed. It found there was limited research on offender identity and poor quality data, which made it difficult to draw conclusions. However, it is likely that no one community or culture is uniquely predisposed to offending. Oh, please go learn what per capita means. A previous piece of research from 2015 found that of 1,231 perpetrators of group and gang-based child sexual exploitation, 42% were white, 14% were defined as Asian or Asian British, and 17% black. Yeah. Now go look at the demographics and the makeup of the population, and you'll understand that little number there, for the amount of them there is, damn high. Damn high. The problem is that the data is from only 19 out of more than 40 police forces and nearly a decade old. Another issue is that the ethnicity of the offender is recorded by police officers rather than self-assessed and uses broad definitions such as Asian. The 2020 Home Office report found this could result in offenders being classed as Asian while being from other backgrounds. Okay, now you want to get technical about race. Okay, in 2022, the Independent Inquiry into Child Sexual Abuse investigation, Abuse in 6 Cities, had not experienced a high-profile grooming case. It found evidence that gang-based abuse was happening and of widespread failures by the police to record the ethnicity of the perpetrators. I wonder why it wasn't being recorded. This makes it impossible to know whether any particular ethnic group is overrepresented as perpetrators of child sexual exploitation by networks, the report concluded. The 3 reports into Rotherham, Rochdale and Telford concentrated on a range of issues. One common thread was that the men involved were often running takeaways or driving taxis in the nighttime economy. I wonder what type of group is very often most involved in those jobs. I wonder. I don't know. Maybe if you could Google it or actually go out and have a look. Just have a little peek in the door or hire yourself an Uber and just make a note of what type of person is there. This gave them access to children who were out late, along with places to carry out the abuse and vehicles to move their victims around. One of the biggest issues in the response to grooming, identified in case after case, is the failure of police and social workers to focus on the victims. Often teenagers, they were regarded as leading risky lifestyles involving drink and drugs. The inquiry into the Telford abuse scandal, which published its report in 2022, found police dismissive of claims of abuse, with one saying, "These girls had chosen to go with, I don't know, bad boys." Well, Mr. Officer, these girls were underage, and the bad boys were grown men. That's now. I'm not a police officer, but I kind of know the law, right? A little bit. Last I checked, when kids start dating adults, that's a crime. That's a crime. I'm no expert, but I believe that's a crime. So to see you just sort of dismiss it like that is highly concerning. That's very, very concerning, Mr. Officer. I was under the impression that you were supposed to stop stuff like that. Maybe it's just me, my taxes at work. Who cares? Another reported child has no credibility. Very often it is her word against the perpetrators, and very often she does not cooperate. Believes she is making life choices. There are never any witnesses or third parties. How convenient. Because children, often from deprived backgrounds, were dismissed as lacking credibility, their abusers were allowed to get away with subjecting them to horrific abuse for too long. Well, isn't that very unfortunate? Wouldn't it be very nice if the police were to, do some policing?